Taste aversion learning is something we've all unfortunately probably had some kind of experience with. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and then a couple hours after you ate there, you come home and you're feeling really sick and you think you might have gotten food poison there, and then you feel like you never ever want to eat at that restaurant again? What has happened to you is we call taste aversion learning. It's actually classical conditioning at work here. The interesting thing about taste aversion learning is that it's so powerful it can take only one pairing of the unconditioned stimulus and the conditioned stimulus to elicit that conditioned response. Whereas, like with Pavlov's dog's example, there were many pairings of the food and the bell tone. A taste aversion can happen after one conditioning trial. So let me use this example here that let's say we went and ate at restaurant X, and when we were there we had some kind of meat dish. Everything was fine, but then a couple hours later we get home and you were just sick. You were throwing up, you're violently ill, and you're saying to yourself, I'll never eat at restaurant X again. And now even when your friends mention restaurant X, you get an ill feeling to your stomach. So what has happened here is that the unconditioned stimulus is the tainted meat that you ate, the bad meat. Nobody had to teach your stomach, when I eat tainted meat, I will throw up. That was an unconditioned response. That is unlearned. Okay, it just so happened though that you ate that tainted meat at restaurant X. Restaurant X, before this conditioning pairing took place, you had no response to restaurant X. You didn't feel ill. You didn't feel any way towards it at all. You might have even liked it. But now, since you had that awful experience of eating tainted meat there, the conditioned stimulus, restaurant X, now will elicit a conditioned response of that ill feeling. And one important thing to note, sometimes students will say, well, is the unconditioned response and conditioned response always going to be the same? The answer is no. If you can obviously see here in this example, the unconditioned response is to actually vomit. The conditioned response here is you might feel like you're going to vomit, but it's more of just a nausea, ill feeling. So the conditioned response is a little bit weaker than what your unconditioned response was. Pavlov's dogs, if we were actually measuring the level of salivation, of course the level of salivation would be greater with the when they were being presented with the food versus with the tone. So they won't always be the same. So in this example here, this is how you can now tell your friends and families how that taste aversion learning has taken place.